Hello everyone, today I would like to share my personal budget. This is because I was not able to find the spending habits of people similar to me as a reference point. Before that, I would like to share a bit on my background. I'm in my early 30s, married and expecting a child within a month. So this is essentially a record of my spendings before having a child. Aside from that, I also have 2 cats and have parents who are expected to be fully retired by the end of the year. Personally, I like to think that I live a fairly minimalistic lifestyle as well. Hence, my method is more of tracking my expenses to ensure that it is reasonable rather than sticking strictly to a budget. Lastly, this only covers my personal expenditure as my husband and I prefer to manage our expenses separately. Instead, we each contribute a fixed amount into a joint account that is set separately for household expenses. As such, I will make a separate video for the family budget instead. For my June's budget, I have only included my basic monthly take-home pay for my income. For family expenses, it covers my contribution to the household fund and to my parents, which includes gift for celebrations such as Father's Day. Admin expenses mainly includes taxes, union membership and phone bills and are therefore expected to be quite consistent. Other expenses will include public transport and food expenses, which is computed at about $10 per day. No budget was set aside for insurance and pet expenses as they are fairly ad hoc in nature. Lastly, I have set aside a small amount for wants, which would cover my shopping and hobbies. With the budget covered, let's look at the actual expenses. My income is higher than expected, mainly due to government payouts, refund, and an ad hoc salary top-up for the completion of an additional project during the month. As these are one-off in nature, I will not be revising my future budget based on this month's income. Aside from food and wants, the expenses are generally in line with the budget as well. After looking through my food expenses, I suspect the increase is mainly due to the purchase of family groceries using my personal account. Hence, moving forward, I will be more careful to charge the groceries to the family account instead. For once, this is mainly due to my new interest in handcrafting origami earrings. As my overall expenses is about 50% of the month's income, I'm still fairly comfortable with rewarding myself in the wants category. My July budget is generally the same, with small adjustments to remove the celebration budget for family and to increase the tax budget slightly. However, the budget will probably increase moving forward for the family segment as we will be expecting a new baby in the subsequent month. Aside from the ad hoc expenses, my July actual expenditure are generally in line with the budget as well. Household expenses are slightly higher than expected as I purchased some materials to DIY some cooling pads for postpartum recovery. There was also an insurance payment this month as well, which is the main reason for the over expenditure of $800. One of my cats got hurt as well this month, so there is some medical expenses. Although this falls under the household fund, I usually do not claim the amount if I paid for it using my personal account as I was the one who wanted to adopt the cats initially. Lastly, I overspent my wants budget on hobbies again. However, I'm still not concerned as I'm unlikely to spend on hobbies in the upcoming months with the new baby. Also, my expenses are still about 50% of my income after adjusting for insurance. I I usually exclude big ad hoc items such as insurance when reviewing my expenses, as I also exclude big ad hoc income as well, for example, my AWS and performance bonus. After the monthly budget, I will now cover how I allocate the leftover balance between investments and savings. Unlike my monthly expenses, this is my first time tracking my allocations as well, so there are definitely areas where I can further improve on. Firstly, I have too much in my savings, which is generally set aside for emergency funds. Therefore, I decided to shift the excess to investments with higher returns. My current plan is to keep investing in T-bills at 5k per application, given the relatively high interest rate. Moving on to investments, aside from T-bills, which was mentioned earlier on, I also have insurance-linked investment, Singapore savings bonds, stash away portfolio, and OCBC BCIP investments. I won't comment much on the insurance-linked investments as they are either doing quite well or are locked in with no further payments required. For the Singapore savings bond, the rates are at the lower end of 2.75% as I invested a lump sum amount into the October 22's issuance. However, after checking the SSB rates in recent months, I have decided to redeem and reinvest a portion into subsequent SSB instead due to the higher rates. For stash away, my loss is mainly due to my lump sum investment at the start of COVID. To be honest, I'm still deliberating between two options. One, to accept the loss and to redirect it to SSB or T-bills, and two, to keep it and hope for the best. Strangely, I do not have the same dilemma for the OCBC BCIP investment, even though it is loss-making as well, and I plan to divest it in August as the amount is small and I will have one less account to track. And with that, I have completed my analysis. I would like to share some of my thoughts before ending the video though. Firstly, I'm aware that my budget and tracking style are quite lax and simple compared to others as I naturally spend within my means. However, I will need to start monitoring how the new baby will affect my spendings in the next few months. Secondly, I realize my preference for lower risk investments will result in lower returns in the long run. Therefore, any tips from experienced investors on how to overcome risk adversity, especially in this climate, is appreciated. Lastly, I need to figure out what to do with my stash away portfolio. As I'm fairly new and risk adverse, any suggestions will be great. And with that, I have come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching and I hope you find this useful.